We are looking at questions and answers of class 10 chapter 1 introduction to the internet. So introduction to the internet, we are going to see questions and answers. The first one is the options. Please observe them very carefully. What happens that sometimes all of these, when these are very similar and the question is like this, most of the time all of this you must really consider. You'll see in the coming questions also. The question is, the search engine can be defined as a software program that provides the required information in a form of a list of related websites based on a search criterion defined by the user. Some commonly used search engines are Google, we know, Bing, Yahoo. Is Yahoo a search engine? Yes. Yahoo is a search engine. If you go to yahoo.com, you'll see there is a search bar and it follows, or it has those algorithms on the background which runs and finds you the required things, required websites or links. So the answer would be all of these. So D is the correct answer. Email is one of the most popular and important services provided by the internet. What are the main advantages of email? You'll see that when you are going through these answers, means the options, when you start reading this, after you complete B, you know that the answer is going to be D. So let us learn and find out whether these things are true or not. Saves paper and allow us to edit a message easily, because previously we used to write letters, then we need to send. If you need to change, there will be a lot of effort you have to input. So it saves paper and allows users to edit a message easily. Then the transmission means it transmits message faster than the conventional form of communication. And I must say the time is not comparable. It may take 1 day or 2 days or even 3 days. But email, just by the click of button, in nanosecond, microsecond or even second, you can just send the email, right? Sends message according to the sender's convenience or the receiver's convenience, because something comes up maybe at late night, 1 o'clock, you can just send the email at 1. The other person may read it at that time or maybe in the morning. So all of these are correct. D is the option which you should choose. Next is WiMAX. WiMAX is what? WiMAX allows access of broadband wireless. So it's a broadband wireless technology up to 30 miles for fixed stations. If a station is fixed, then you can reach up to 30 miles, the purview or the range. And if you're moving, that is 3 to 10 miles for a mobile station. So what is the full form of WiMAX? The question is of full form. So just read them very carefully and try to answer. Which is the answer? The answer is B. WiMAX stands for Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. Worldwide Interoperability for Microwave Access. Chrome. Chrome is a Dash-based web browser. So there are web browsers which are of different types. They may be text, they may be graphic design. So Chrome is actually a graphical based web browser. So the answer would be C. Chrome, you say Chrome, Internet Explorer, Safari, and there are so many, Chrome, Opera, Selenium. The third component of URL is what? The third component of URL stands for Uniform Resource Locator. So this is, you have .this. So what is the third component? It gives you the domain name. So the answer would be domain name. Next question is, www is also known as what? Is it web? It's not website or web server, because the website is placed in the web server, and HTTP is the protocol used for accessing this website from the web server and presenting it through web browser on the net or internet. So this is the correct answer. So answer would be B. The domain extension .org refers to a type of website, to a dash type of website. See, we have .com for commercial, .gov for government, .edu for educational institutes, say .in for India, .au for Australia. So what is left? .org stands for, or it refers to the non-profit organization type of website. So answer would be C. Next is Dash is an example of text-based web browser. We know that Firefox, Linux, Linux is actually not the web browser. Linux is an operating system. Then Dash is an example of text-based. So all these three, we can select by rejecting. So Lynx, LYNX, this is an example of text-based web browser. So D is the correct answer. Next is, which one of the following is a protocol that is generally used in URL addresses? So protocol are rules, guidelines, that govern things on various platforms like the internet or the network. So which one of the following is a protocol that is generally used in URL addresses? And that is, can you guess the answer? The answer is HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is basically file transfer protocol. This is a language, and this is TCP, transmission control protocol. So the answer is B. Then you have ARPANET, you can say predecessor of internet, or from where the internet started. So this was introduced in 1969 by whom? The scientists of ARPA. This is a defense related organization. So this is A. Answer is A. ISP stands for what? ISP stands for what? Please read them very carefully and try to answer. ISP stands for, is it Internet Service Provider? You ought to have some BSNL or say MTNL or some mobile service like, they also get from these only, like the Vodafone or say Idea, Jio. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. Next is, what does L in URL stands for? Uniform Resource Locator. So locator is locator. A is the correct answer. Next is, Dash provides a quick and simple way for one user to communicate with another over the internet. So the best is, you have on internet or data services, you have WhatsApp, you have Line, you have Hike, Facebook, so many things are there, Twitter. All these are there, but still this remains the quick and simple way for one user to communicate with another. May it be official, may it be unofficial. A is the correct answer. Next is, a Dash connection does not use any wire to communicate or transfer information between two or more computers on the internet. So which is that connection? We don't need wire, or we are not needing wire here. So we are going wireless. So hope you got the indication. The answer is wireless. Next is, the main difference between a dial-up and a broadband is, of course, speed is the difference, the continuity of the connectivity, and the rate in which upload and download takes place. So the correct answer is all of the above. That is D. Next is, which one of the following is not a web browser? Which one of this is not a web browser? See, Netscape, the first one to be made public or open source. Firefox is a very famous open source of this web browser. So these web browsers are actually the program or applications where your HTML will run. IE is also by Microsoft. So we are left with only www, that is World Wide Web, which is actually web also. So this is D. The answer is D. Which one of the following is an example of text-based browser? Text-based. We know that this is Linux because Chrome, IE and Firefox, they all are graphical. Then which one of the following is not a search engine? American Online, Google, Yahoo, these are all search engines. Gmail is it transfers or it sends and receives. This is a service for sending and receiving the emails, electronic mails. So the answer would be D. A gateway is a device that helps to connect. Now this is a good question. See, when you are on network, you start with the lowest one. You have connectors, you have wires, you have PCs, or you have nodes, etc. But for connecting, you have, say, hub. This is a physical layer. If you talk about ISO, OSI, or the other one, that is TCP IP. These ISO, OSI, and TCP IP, they gives different layers of communication. So first we start with hub, physical layer. Then we have say switch. Then you have above switch, there is router. Then you have the gateways. So gateways, the main work of gateways is, if you have two network 1 and network 2, and these two are following some different protocol, and you need to connect the two different networks having different protocols. For that you are going to use the gateway. So the answer would be dissimilar network. So answer would be B. Next is, a website can be a protocol, web server, search engine, none of these. So website can be what? Can it be a search engine? Yes. It cannot be a protocol. Protocol are guidelines. Web server is where the website is going to be stored, or the application server. And search engine, yes, it can be. So answer would be B. A protocol is a set of dash that computers use to communicate with one another over a network, such as internet. So these are set of rules or guidelines. So we are going with C. The answer is C. Which of the following are advantages of internet? So you see that I indicated you when I started this discussion that if you read these two and they are true, then you don't have to go for the third. The answer would be D. So let us see whether the answer is D or not. Provides information on almost any topic, yes. Allow you to easily communicate with one another, yes. Provide the latest news, what is happening around world anytime. Some earthquake has happened, you will get the news in seconds. So all of these, the answer would be D. WW stands for what? WW stands for World Wide Web. So what is this? World Wide Web. This we are going to take, or this one. This is Web Wide World. This is not also true. C is the correct answer. World Wide Web. When you click the hypertext present on a web page, you are directed to, see, this depends on the programming. If you have a hyperlink and when you click it, it can take you to the same page, web page. It can take you to another web page on the internet, or even it can take you to the bottom or the top of the web page. So the answer would be D. This is, all of these are correct. Hypertext is what? Hypertext is a text with a picture, a normal text. Hypertext is that text or that thing. It can be an image also. When you click it, it will take you to another page. So you will have an anchor tag there, href there. So that will have a link. It will take you to some destination, some page. So the answer would be C. Hypertext is text that contains a link to another web page. What are the two factors that you should consider by selecting the means to connect to the internet? So the factors are portability, speed. These are also correct. Size and reliability, connectivity and speed. So all these we need to see, but the answer is none of these. So we have to choose one of these. This C one, because if the connectivity is good and the speed is good, then we can think of the size, reliability, and then the portability. So the best option would be C. The cable modem, DSL and satellite, digital subscriber line. These are dash connections that allow users to connect to the internet. So what are these? The answer would be B. These are all broadband connections. The broadband is the frequency, F2 minus F1. That is the range of the frequency being given. It is an application that stores the web pages requested by user. What is it? Tell me, what is the application that stores web pages? Is it web server? Because web server stores the web pages. So the answer would be D. It is a network point that acts as an entrance to another network. What it can be? Can it be gateway? It cannot be backbone, ARPANET, network or network. Answer would be A, gateway. Now we'll see some short answer type questions. What do you mean by the home page of a website? What is the home page of the website? Whenever you visit a website, there is index.html. There is a page which is having all the links, etc. So the web page that opens first in the web browser window is the home page of the website. What is the meaning of hyper in the word hypertext? What do you mean by hyper? Hyper, this term hyper, it is meaning the navigation it is going to provide, and it may not be linear. Means it can go take you here, it can take you there, any point. List different domain extension. So as we discussed about edu.edu.org, .com, .in, like this. So .com for commercial, or .org for organization, for non-profit organization, edu for educational institute, .gov for government institute. In the URL, this http:// www.wikipedia.org/. What is the domain name and domain extension? So this is the domain extension we have just seen. What is the domain name? Domain name is this, Wikipedia. What happens when you click on the hyperlink? When you click on the hyperlink, there are three things can be done. It can keep you on the same page, it can take you outside that website, or it can take you up or down. So when a user click on the hyperlink, he or she is navigated to the link web page that can be either a different web page, or the section of the same web page, or a different web page. What is Wi-Fi? Wireless fidelity is it? Wi-Fi is a type of wireless connection that, see, first of all, it is wireless. There is no need of wire. So this is a wireless connection which allows the user to connect to the internet by using a wireless router. What is a wireless router? This is a device that relays the internet connection from an ISP to your computer, which is connected to your ISP's Internet Service Provider modem. Modem is nothing but modulator, demodulator. Then we'll see some short answer questions also. Which two protocols are used for communication between computers? The first is TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, and IP, that is Internet Protocol. These protocols are used for communication among computers, and these are very important for networking networks also. Define a protocol. Protocol is when you come to a party, wear formals. When you come to a meeting, wear suit, have a good tie. These are protocols. These are set of rules, guidelines that everyone has to follow. So protocol is a set of rules required to carry out communication on a network. What are the main components of URL? URL, Uniform Resource Locator. Explain them briefly. So there are four components of a URL. First of all, you have HTTP or HTTPS. So this protocol is a set of rules that computer use to communicate with one another over a network such as the internet. Then you have a subdomain. www is the, then you have a colon, // then you have www. What is this? This is the second component of the URL. The term www is going to specify that the website that the user wants to access, say some Google or any you can take, is on the internet. So it, the subdomain specifies that it is internet, so it can be intranet also, it can be some shared network also. So www means it is on the internet. Then you have domain name, www.google.com, www.yahoo.com. So this, after www dot, the thing which comes is the domain name. This is the third component of a URL, and it represents the name of one or more computers that acts as a server on the internet. Right? If you say www.google.com, that Google which is in between is actually the name. It is actually pointing to the IP address of the system which is having these web pages. Okay? Which is of Google. Domain extension, then you have that com or org or something, So this fourth component of the URL is domain extension, which specifies the type of website. And this domain extension for a URL uses standard codes to represent the type of website. So if I write www dot, say, let me take Rediff now, Rediff.com. Rediff Mail or Rediff.com. This shows that it is on internet. This is the domain name which tells us, or on the background it will go to this DNS system and it will find the place where the content is there or the web pages are there. This .com is the domain extension. Describe a website. What is a website? A website is nothing but the collection of web pages which are actually interlinked with each other by hyperlinks. So these web pages, they are stored on a computer, which we call it as a server, right? So this server is similar to normal computer, but it is called server because it is going to serve, and if any request is there, it is going to attend and provide this service to other computers. So a user can access a website from the computer by typing its address on the address bar of the web browser. That is the application which we use to connect to the intranet or the local network. How is the HTTP protocol different from TCP/IP protocol? See, we'll see about this because these two are very important. This HTTP hypertext transfer protocol is used to access the web pages from the web server over the internet. So you have a web server. You need to access the web pages which are placed inside. You need to use HTTP. HTTP allows the user to access hypertext document on www, that is internet. While TCP/IP, all computers on the internet communicate with one another using TCP/IP protocol suite. Previously it was ISO OSI. Then now in the networking side, the communication is done through Transmission Control Protocol Internet Protocol Suite. This is abbreviated as TCP/IP, which is the basic communication protocol on the internet. Differentiate between TCP and IP. The TCP part of TCP/IP suite, you have this whole layering. So this TCP part, it breaks the data into small packets which needs to be then transferred on the network. Now you need to send, then you have to assemble these packets which are being broken at the sender side. So these sender side will send the packet, and at the receiving side they are going to be combined. So the IP part handles the address of the destination computer so that the data is sent to the correct address.
Long answer question. So there will be 2 to 3 paragraphs you are going to write. So the question is, what do you understand by the term hypertext and hyperlink? So you have to understand that this hypertext, what does it mean? This is pointing, hypertext is something which is pointing to a web document. Web document can be anything. It can be your text, it can be your graphics, it can be images, audio, video, or any dynamic link. So it can be a web page or one or all these combinations. Okay, and this is specifically we are talking about internet. So there will be a dynamic link, and this dynamic link is hyperlink. That means when you click, it will take you to some place, some document, some image, some graphics, some audio, and it will connect you to one on the same website, same portal, or some other also. So this hypertext is just a regular text you will see on your web page or your browser, and once you click it, the difference of regular text and hypertext is once you click it, it will take you, redirect you, or send you to some other web page on the same portal, same website, or to some other website. Okay, so this term hyper, what does it mean here? Because in both of these, hyper has come. This hyper means that navigation, and this navigation is not necessarily linear. That is, if you have say 50 pages on your website, if you have this welcome page and you click somewhere or some link, it is going to take you to the second one. But this is not the case. Linear, it is non-linear. That means it will take you to the actual information or the HTML page which is there on the background of this hypertext clicking. Once you click it, it can take you to any of the page on any of the internet, whichever is given on the background. Next one is, how can you identify whether a website is commercial or not? So simply you have to see the extension .com. This .com is standing for commercial website. So whenever we have a website like www.xyz.com, so this is corresponding to a commercial website, and this part is called as a domain extension. What it is called? Domain extension. So this domain extension, this part is a component of a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, which specifies what type of website this is. For example, we have www.google.com. So this is a commercial website. There are other extensions also. There are popular domain extension which you see .org for organization, .co, .gh, .gov, that is for government. We also have .in like .india for India, .uk for say United Kingdom, like this. What do you understand by a web server? So first of all, we are talking about web, and there is something or some part, component, computer, whichever, which is serving. So this server can be a single computer or it can be a group of computer. And this is having web, which is the document, web document. What we can say here is that web server can be defined as the package or container that contains a huge amount of information that will be retrieved by the web browser you use. So when a user sends a request, say you are a user, and here we have web server. So whenever a user send the information or asked for the information to the web server, this information is searched and then it is sent back to the computer. And which program you use to get the web pages? You use the web browser, like the Chrome, like the Internet Explorer. And whenever a user sends a request to the web server for web page, it gets a response. And this response, as I said, will be in the form of web page. And this communication, the protocol will be HTTP, Hypertext Transfer Protocol. And this HTTP is used to access the web pages from web server over the internet. Again, you can have a web browser or some other program which will show you whatever is coming from the web server. Differentiate between a web browser and a web server. So I indicated just now that you open your computer system and then you open your web browser. What is your web browser? It can be your, say, Opera. It can be your Firefox. It can be your Chrome, Google Chrome. So you open here, then on the URL bar, you type something, so say www.google.com. Now this, when you type, this you type on your web browser. Whenever you type, you get the Google page. From where this Google page is coming? It is coming from the web server. Okay. So this is where your web server. This is your web browser. So web browser is an application that is employed to access or retrieve information or resources on the internet. And this information can be in different form. Always, you see, there are multiple things which you can see on a web page. That can be your audio, video, text, images. This web browser is specifically designed to access information to the internet. It can also be employed or used to access the resources on the local intranet, because internet in a company, you don't want, say, proper internet, say some defense company. You don't want it to be connected to internet. So you will have your local intranet or a file system also. But the web server we are talking about is a computer or a group of computers which will store these web pages. We have already talked about that this web server is a server machine, is a server. It will give you the web pages, whichever you ask. It can be through your web browser or it can be through other application. So this web server is a package or a container you can define which contains a lot of information, like huge amount of information. So user is sending or requesting some information, web server is ready to serve. So it will request whatever information is requested, it will search and give it back to the requesting computer or requesting system. How is a web page different from a home page? See, web home page is also a web page. Home page is also a web page. So let us take one more example. You are typing www.yahoo.com now. So whenever you are typing this, there will be certain page, first page will come. It will have multiple links. So the first page which comes is called as a home page, or basic page. Now from this web page, there will be hyperlinks, and now you can go to various other pages. So when a user, it searches for information on the internet, the information is displayed with certain website. For example, if you type something on Google, various website will come on the web browser. The user can click any of the website of his choice wherever he gets the relevant information. So the web page is a hypertext document that contains the information. And a web page may contain hyperlinks. As I suggested, a web page can have multiple hyperlinks. Now you can navigate through this to this website or to some other website also. And home page is the first page, is the main page of any website. So whenever user opens any website, this home page will be the first page on the website to be displayed to the user. So what do we say? A website has only one home page but several web pages. Home page is the basic page. A home page is also a web page, which I started. Means when I started a discussion, where home page is nothing but a web page, and this web page is always the first page. What are the advantages and disadvantages of a wireless connection? Now everything is wireless. You have a mobile now. Everyone has a mobile in his or her hand. Now you use a computer. You use a computer with a mouse, and this mouse is now, say, a USB mouse, and this is a wireless mouse. You have earphones now which are wireless. They don't require these wires. So these wires are basically the electrical wire which we used earlier also, and we are using right now also. But most of the thing is the advantages and disadvantages. Mostly the advantages are there, but with everything comes disadvantages also. So wireless internet connection, we are talking about a connection or an internet connection where we are not using any wire, is wireless. Between computers, between various devices. The wireless connection can be of different kinds. For example, there are different standards, IEEE standards like Wi-Fi, WiMAX, 3G, 4G, 4.5G, 5G has also come. What are the advantages? First of all, it takes less cost for setting up the connection because you're not putting all the wires, etc. Everything is going wirelessly. And wherever there are remote areas, though it is very beneficial when we don't want the jumbled up wire system of urban and rural areas, but even in the remote areas, it is very helpful. And the connectivity, because it is wireless, sometimes the connectivity may not be issue because sometimes the wire breaks and you don't get the connection. But the disadvantage is the security aspect and the call break, call drop, data drop. These are all the problems, but the basic problem is the security issue because it is quite vulnerable. Though we have all the encryption etc. here, but still it is vulnerable to the security attacks. Describe the process of transmitting information messages over the internet. So how do you transfer the message? Let us take an example of a computer. This is one computer and this is another computer. So how do you send the message? We employ networks. The process of transmission, first of all, we need network. And in this first is network, then we go to the gateways, and these gateways are basically you are going to the internet backbone. So there are various steps which we should learn whenever we are transmitting the data over internet. So what are the steps? See, first of all, this is a source computer. Now source computer sends the data. First of all, it has to prepare the data and it will send the destination, the data to the destination computer. and this data is divided into different packets. These are the packets. Say this is number 1, number 2, number 3, and this is sent through various connections. It can be wireless, it can be wired also. But if I go to the detail, it can be TCP, Transmission Control Protocol, or UDP, User Datagram Protocol. These are the various protocols being used. But not going into the detail, these packets are sent and they will take the different way, wirelessly or non-wirelessly, to the destination computer, where all these packets, say these are the packets, and they come normally in different orders. So say in random order. So now this has to be reassembled on the destination computer, and this will become again like this, which was sent, and now the destination gets the data. Define the TCP/IP protocol, Transmission Control Protocol, Internet Protocol. So all the computers on the internet, they're communicating, and they're communicating through this TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, and Internet Protocol. This is a suite. There is a stack, that is the 5 layers are there. Previously it was ISO OSI layer. We used to have 7 layers there. But now for the TCP/IP, there are 5 layers, and these are all the layers which are taking care of different kind of communication. For example, the lower layer, physical layer, is actual physical layer where actual data bit stream is going. Okay, so TCP part of this TCP/IP, it breaks the data into smaller packet, because all the data cannot go. It has to have some form, and this will be sent. So there will be a breaking. The data is divided into small packets. TCP/IP is an open protocol. What does it mean? It is not tied to any particular hardware or any software vendor. So it is free. That is why every IBM is also can use, say, any kind of, IBM or TCS can use, you name any company. So the TCP part is responsible for assembling the packet. This is responsible for, this is also the TCP part is deassembling and assembling. The both work is done by this TCP part. So what this IP part is doing then? This IP part is handling the address of the destination computer, so that the data which is starting from here should reach the data to the correct address. List the type of web browser. Explain them briefly. So now most of the web browser users are on Chrome, Google Chrome, because Google is very versatile. It has various, YouTube is from Google, the Google Chrome is from Google. So this web browser is essentially a program only, which is used to access the web pages from the web server. So web browser is an application. It is employed to access or retrieve the information or resources from the internet. And as I said, these are in different forms: audio, video, text, etc., images. So there are 2 types of web browser. First is the text-based web browser. Second is the graphical web browser. What it clearly shows that text-based means you will only see the text, nothing else, only text. Graphic means you will see everything, whichever is possible on a web page. It can be your audio, video, etc. So as I said, this Google Chrome is very popular, but along with this, Mozilla Firefox is an open source web browser. Then there are various others, Opera, and Apple also has its own. So this graphical web browser, these are available for various operating system also, as I said, for Windows, Mac, and Linux. What is a web browser? How does it work? So we have already talked about this. So I'll just give a brief idea and we'll skip this question. Web browser is a program, is an application which is used to access the web pages. So you have a web browser and then you have a URL, this address location here, you type it here and then you get the web page, or you can get the link. And that is how you get the different web pages here. So I'll just skip because we have already talked about this. You can have a view of this so that you can write. how internet is different from the intranet. Okay, let me give you an example first. For example, it is your school. Now you have a school, your school have branches. There will be some local head office, some regional head office, some global head office, say in Delhi. So all these needs to be connected, and the data should be passed, information should be passed. That is, some message is given by your, say, the highest authority, and it is reaching everyone. Here you don't need internet. You don't need internet because this is local. You don't want anyone else because this is your local, or so say, this is your organization work or organization communication. So this is your intranet. But internet is for everyone, you, me, everyone. So intranet is a private network. As I said about schools, normally different organizations have their own intranet, like the defense services, like the railways, like the for example, you have the automobiles sectors. They all have their private networks. So this is a private network, and this is only accessible through and within the organization. Though it is based on the TCP/IP, that is the internet technology, so various people at various locations can access it, but in private manner. That is, no other organization, no other person can infiltrate or get the information. Internet always allows these employees to access data of the organization quite easily and economically, and they are protecting also themselves. This school has an adversary, the other school, so they don't want any unauthorized access. But whenever we are talking about internet, this is a collection of millions of computers which are globally connected in different countries and continents. So it is a worldwide network. This global network allows easy access and transfer of this data and communication among various peoples anywhere in the world. What is a web portal? So let me give you an example first. Again, I'll go to www.yahoo.com because you guys are well aware of google.com. It's everywhere now. So that is why I'm taking the example of yahoo.com. Whenever you type this, you will get a Yahoo page. So here you will get mail. The mail is written. Here you have, say, some shopping. Here you have news, Yahoo News. So in one page, you have different, say, hypertext or links. Whenever I talk, say, click this one or this one, say, the mail one, it will take me to Yahoo Mail. So this page or this kind of facility, which is having all the different links or different facilities embedded or inside it, is called the web portal. So a web portal is a website. It is essentially a website also, where in one place you get links to several resources. So it will have hyperlink, for example, mail, shopping, etc., of various other websites or its own websites. When a user click on any of these hyperlink, it will be redirected to web page. For example, as I said, web portal like Yahoo you have. And these all are now not that much popular, so I'm not discussing about that. Still, AOL, American Online and MSN are also there. So this web portal started to be used nowadays to describe these websites, as some users are using them as the starting point, because web portal is the first page and now it is a starting point for this. For example, everything is coming from Yahoo. Yahoo is not only, say, providing in mail server, it is providing various other things. So this also goes, because here you'll see a search button also, so you can search also. There are so many things. A proper online experience can only be achieved when you are getting a web portal. The next one is, what do you understand by the term domain name? So let me write the whole URL first, an example, then I'll tell you what is the domain name and actual significance of it. So we normally see this HTTP with a colon, then 2/, then www.google.com. This is an example. So this Google here is the domain name. So this component of a URL, this whole is a URL, Uniform Resource Locator, and here it is Google. So what does this specify? See, first of all, we are talking about a server which is a web server. There are different folders here kept. So whenever a user type here, how it will identify, because this request will go to the web server, how this web server will identify which page has to be given. So this folder name will be Google. For example, somebody types here yahoo.com. So the folder name of this will be Yahoo, like this. So this Google and Yahoo and etc., these are the domain name. As I said, large website like Google, Yahoo, they have multiple computer, or you can say they have multiple web servers. The domain name must be registered. It has to be registered, for example, on Go, GoDaddy, etc., so that one domain name does not represent more than one server. That is, you cannot have multiple www.google.com. Google is only one. So there are special administrative bodies, as I just named you, say GoDaddy.com. These are called domain registrars, register the domain names. Once the domain name is registered with the domain registrar, the same domain name cannot be used by any other website. And once, say, you register it for 1 year or say 2 years, you pay the money. You are paying the actually money for this folder where all the web pages of this Google will be kept. And once this is done, say 1 year, 2 years, you don't want to go ahead or further, you have only paid for 1 year. After that, this URL will be given or will be taken by this GoDaddy and will be placed for somebody else to purchase. This is how it works.
So what does it mean when we say the Lynx is a text-based web browser? Name some web browser which are graphical. So there are two types of web browser basically. One is text-based, the other is graphical. So the web browser is actually an application that is used to access or retrieve information or resources from the internet, like your Opera, Safari, Internet Explorer. All these are example, and Mozilla Firefox. So these are actually applications. You type an address and you get the response from the server which is holding that content. So web browser is specifically designed for internet, but you can use it in local internet or file system. And why this Lynx is called text based? Because we have text based browser and graphical web browser. Lynx is text based because the access which it provides is only text based. Yani the internet, the access is only on the text. So web browser display only text based information, and the web browser does not support the graphical information. The IE, Internet Explorer, the Mozilla Firefox, the Netscape, these are all examples of your graphical web browser. And the graphical web browser, they are available for various operating systems. Differentiate between dial-up connection and a wireless connection. First of all, this dial-up connection uses PSTN, that is Public Switch Telephone Network. So it's a temporary connection. When you connect, means this type of connection is connecting yourself to the ISP, Internet Service Provider, and the dial-up connection is established with the help of a modem. Modem is modulator, demodulator. This is, this telephone line is analog and computer is digital. So you have to convert analog to digital and vice versa. So this device allows the computer to transfer data over a phone line. So an internet connection is established through this dial-up connection, and when till the time you are connected, it is available. And once the client gets disconnected from the ISP server, the client needs to restart. He has to again dial up and then to connect to the ISP to get the internet again. So it needs a dedicated line to remain connected to the internet. When we talk about wireless, this means no wire. This refers to a connection that does not use any wire to communicate or transfer information, data between computers or your device. There is actually a in between thing, a networking device called router. This gives you the facility of the radio waves from which the data comes. The distances between devices which are connected to each other through a wireless internet connection, it does not affect the rate of data transfer between them. What are the uses of internet? Internet has enormous availability. It's of the in terms of usage. Let me just give you an idea that email and chatting services, the surfing and searching, the e-learning, the e-commerce, the entertainment, the infotainment, you can send the emails, you can just do trade, you can pay the bills, you can get the information, news, latest happening around the world. Internet has everything. Describe the email service. Email service, when you send a letter to someone electronically, this mail, or you send a mail, this is email, electronic mail. So email is the most popular and important service, and email has become one of the most widely used tools for communication. Though email, a user can communicate around the globe, anytime, anywhere, in seconds, within seconds. In 1970s, when the email service just started, user can only send textual messages. But today, you can send computer graphics, images, the sounds, the videos, various things you can attach. So the advantages are, it saves paper, you can edit the message. The transmission is very fast as compared to conventional forms like postal service, and as per sender and receiver's convenience, you can send and receive message. Then you can send the message not to one but multiple users. You can do CC, carbon copy, you can do BCC, blind carbon copy, and you can also store the messages so that you can get it back whenever you want. Then list the advantage of email. So what are the advantages of email, electronic mail? First of all, it saves paper, transmit messages faster than speed or courier service. Then you can, as per your convenience, receive and send message, and you don't have to buy stamps and envelopes and go to the post office to post the letter, and you can send it to multiple users. You can save it, you can store it, and you can have a future reference for them. You can send even videos, audios, documents, PDFs, PPTs. Expand and explain the following terms. So these are very important as far as the internet and web technologies are concerned. So HTML. What is HTML? HTML is basically hypertext markup language. So this is tag based language, and anything which is inside this tag, say you have V. So if I have written, say, hello, whenever you take it to the browser, these tags, these are only interpreted, and this hello will be shown in bold. So it is a markup language containing tags to design web pages. So when a web page is opened in a web browser, the formatted text is displayed instead of this tag. And HTML is used to design the layout of a web page. So it is purely for appearance. You can have in HTML5, you can have audio, video, animations, various things are there. HTTP. Basically, HTTP is a protocol. It's a protocol, it is a rule or set of guidelines. So it stands for Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and this is used to access web pages from a web server over the internet. So you have a web server, you have a browser. Now browser, you type address, you want to get the content. You will use HTTP. So you will have this www access. You might have seen on the URLs www.google.com. That www uses HTTP. So HTTP works as a foundation for www, World Wide Web, which facilitates exchange of information on the internet, and HTTP allows user to access hypertext document on www. Then comes www. It stands for World Wide Web, and it is also, standard. It consists of standards and protocol that help the user to create and display multimedia files on the internet, like the text, graphics, image, videos, audio, or the combination of any of these. WiMAX. WiMAX is Worldwide Interoperability Microwave Access. So the range, actually it's a broadband access. So it allows users to access broadband wireless signals up to 30 miles for fixed stations and 3 to 10 miles for mobile stations. What do you mean by search engine? Name to popular search engine. What role do search engine play in web surfing? First of all, these popular search engine, you can give any name. It's your choice. I'm just putting two of these. So first of all, the search engine is what? It has all the algorithms on the backside: ranking algorithm, searching algorithm, mining algorithm. So this search engine helps in searching information on the internet according to certain criteria. The word you give, the text you give, the string you give, or basis of combination of those strings, the algorithm works and it fetches the data you want. Say if you want to have, say, university data of management courses which are offering management courses, you just have to transfer or write it into the search engine, and within seconds a long list of website is going to appear on your screen, and which will provide you with the desired information. And most of the time the first page will show you, or the links or the hyperlinks, they are in the order of descending relevance. So most of the time you on the first page only you get the desired information. The popular search engines are Google and Yahoo, and the search engine, it plays very vital role in web surfing. The search engine allows user or you to find information on the internet on the basis of specific search criteria, and they provide various links on behalf of your query that takes you to various websites, and this continuous searching for the information on the internet is known as web surfing. What is e-learning and what is its importance? Explain its importance. Electronic learning is learning through electronic modes or media. So this is the mode of acquiring knowledge by means of internet and computer based training programs. Maybe you may be distance learning, or you may not be going to the class, or you are ill. So in this type of education, students learn and study on their own and communicate with their instructors and other students through emails, electronic forums, video conferencing, chat rooms, bulletin boards, and messaging. Let us take an example: e-learning, which comprise of different forms like web-based and computer-based learning, and the example also include the virtual classroom. And e-learning employs various media like audio, animation, text, and streaming video to give you knowledge, to impart knowledge and training with learning. So e-learning is said to be very effective than traditional classroom learning methods, but I would advise, because traditional learning, teacher is in front of you, students are with you, this is always the good. Define ISP. Name some popular ISP companies of India. If you are from anywhere in the world, you can give your ISPs that you know. So first of all, let us understand what ISP is. ISP stands for Internet Service Provider. So it gives you a username, password, it gives you a setting which is needed to configure to the internet connection on the computer. And of course, the money. So subscription for internet connection is done from an ISP, Internet Service Provider. So the ISP to choose should be reliable, and it should provide immediate help to any internet connection problem. The number of ISPs in India: MTNL, Airtel, Reliance. So users should choose the ISP that provide a wide variety of web services in their respective area. Videsh Sanchar Nigam Limited, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, Airtel, Vodafone, Reliance, Idea, all these are various ISPs available here. Why do organizations mostly use intranet instead of the internet to share information within its premises? The main thing is security. So intranet is generally used to link different computers in an organization. So if this is an organization, you have different computers. So it is a combination of two words, intra and net. Intra means inside or within. Therefore, an intranet implies to a network inside something like an organization. And unlike the internet is limited to a small area or organization to small people. Organizations mostly use intranet instead of internet to share information within their premises, as the web pages or other resources on the intranet, they are not accessible outside the intended organization. And this is going to ensure the security of the organization resources and information. Therefore, user do not use www. He may use something like this. So you will not use on intranet www, while you are using internet, you will use www. History of the intranet. Tell something about the history. So all started with ARPANET. ARPANET, this was developed as a means of communication for the use of United States military services. But by the end of 1971, almost 15 sites from the different organizations were connected to ARPANET. And because of the success of ARPANET, the NSF, National Science Foundation, this is another federal agency, created a new high capacity network called NSFNet, and which was more capable than this ARPANET. But there was a drawback that it allowed only academic research on its private network along with private and public businesses. After the evolution of network on the basis of ARPANET and NSFNet, right now we have internet with us, and ARPANET and NSFNet, they are discontinued. Explain the working of internet. How does internet work? So the computer which are connected, which are connected to internet, they form various small networks, and they are connected through gateways to the internet backbone. So there are various steps. First of all, the sender sends the data in the form of packets, which are small packets of the data, and these are sent to the destination computer, where these packets are reassembled at the destination computer. How is www different from internet? See, this www, it is representing an information space where document and web resources are residing, and these documents are connected, they are by hyperlinks, and you can access it by URLs or URIs using internet. This www makes a large part of internet, and it consists of websites that may have one or more than one pages. On the other hand, if you talk about internet, computers on the internet are connected to each other with the help of various small networks, and these different small networks are connected through gateways, and all computers on the internet, they communicate with one another using the TCP/IP, Transmission Control Protocol, and Internet Protocol. This is a suite like ISO OSI layers. This is also a suite which is a basic communication protocol to the internet. And we are going to take the formative assessment, that is the application oriented questions. These are questions based on internet and web technologies based on the application. First question is, Ritu Sharma, a housewife, wants to make pasta. She wants to make pasta on her daughter's birthday. But the problem is that Ritu, she doesn't know how to cook the pasta. Or maybe she may cook, but she don't know the recipe of pasta. So Ritu discusses this problem with her husband Hemant, who advises her to consult the internet to find the recipe of pasta. Consider yourself to be Hemant. Explain Ritu how to conduct a search on the internet. Also tell her the benefits of using the internet. So the procedure you are going to follow as Hemant to find the recipe is, first open the browser, type your search website, or you can say search engine. That is, you can use google.com in the address bar of the web browser. Then just type how to cook pasta or pasta recipe, anything of this relation in the search text box. and then just press the search button, and you will find various hyperlinks here, and just click the appropriate hyperlink to open or to get the desired web page. There are benefits of using internet because you can transfer the data faster. You can send it to many people at a time. You can play music, videos, games. You can do the transactions. You can communicate at any time at your leisure time or as per your convenience. You can learn also. You can get the news. You can have a computer-based training. You are Kavya Gupta studying in some class. Your teacher told you to gather information in the topic Freedom Fighters of India, Freedom Fighters of your country. Use the internet to gather the information about the Freedom Fighters of India. So to gather the information, again, you have to go to some search engine. You can go to Google and you can just type Freedom Fighters of India or Indian Freedom Fighters. The way, because everything on the back side, it uses these tags or the content which you have written, and it relates or ranks relate with the relevant ranking algorithm to find out the relevant page. So just open the web browser, then open the google.com, type in the address bar, then type Freedom Fighters of India or Indian Freedom Fighters, and just press search, and you will get the hyperlinks, and you can just go to the hyperlink till the time you get the required information. Next question is, your friend Sanjana wants to download movies and songs from the internet. So she is interested in downloading movies and songs. So which internet connection is best suited for her requirement and why? See, dial-up connection you will not advise. You have to advise the broadband. So Sanjana should use the broadband connection as it is offering higher rate of data transmission. Next question is, Anjali wants to access some information from the internet by using Google Chrome web browser. So let us generalize it, any web browser. Okay. So she is not aware of the user interface of the web browser. Help her to search information on Google Chrome or any web browser. So this is one of its kind. We can take any web browser. So we have various options here. You will find in any browser. These will be there. This is back button, forward button. This is title bar. This is title bar. This is your address bar. This is your address bar. This is your reload current page. This is your home button, and this is your web page viewing area. This is whole your web page viewing area. So let us discuss them one by one. These are the different components of any web browser. For example, Google Chrome. You will see the title bar. It displays the name of the currently opened website. The back button, which will take you to the previously viewed web page. Forward button will take you to the next page of the current web page. Reload current button page, this refreshes and reload the current page. Then home button, it displays the default home page of the website you are using. The address bar, it refers to the space where you are going to type the address of the website you want to access. And web page viewing area, this is the whole area where a user can view the contents of the web page, right? So this is how you do. Junaid is a businessman who travels a lot. He wants an internet connection that will keep him in touch with his businesses all the time. You need to suggest the type of internet connection that he should use. So wireless will be better, and list 2 ways of accessing the internet through a wireless connection. So first is, Junaid should use a wireless connection for accessing internet, and the 2 ways of accessing wireless internet connection are WiMAX and Wi-Fi. Explain the terms e-commerce, e-learning and chatting. E-commerce is what? Commerce on the electronic commerce or commerce on the internet or network. So when we talk about internet, e-commerce invariably comes into the picture. The concept of e-commerce is just like commerce, which means transaction of or exchange of goods and services. But e-commerce differs from the commerce in that it involves selling and purchasing of commodities and services using a computer network and usually the internet. Then we come to e-learning. E-learning is what? Electronic learning. So this is a mode of acquiring knowledge, getting knowledge by means of internet and computer-based training programs. So in this type of education, students learn and study on their own and try to communicate with their instructors and other students via email, messages, electronic forums, video conferencing, chat rooms, bulletin boards and messaging. Chatting. The chat functionality of the internet uses IRC, Internet Relay Chat Protocol, to exchange text messages among users on the internet. So this chatting or chat service available on the internet enables users living in different part of the globe to communicate each other simultaneously by sending and receiving messages. So this is IRC on the background, Internet Relay Chat. Tick one of the following options that is not an advantage of email. Email saves paper and allow you to edit the message easily, so this is correct. Take a long time to transmit, no. Sends messages as per sender's convenience, this is correct. So we are going to tick here, so you have to tick here. Now we will see, before we close, some unsolved examination questions also. These are the examination questions which are being asked. First is expand the following web extensions using these web addresses. ORG stands for organization, IN stands for India. Just like AU stands for Australia, this .com stands for commercial websites. So ORG organization, IN for India. Why do we use a web browser? Web browser is a program to get the resources or the material from the web browser, the web server. So we use web browser for accessing and retrieving information or resources from the internet. Name any two ISPs. You can name any ISPs if you are viewing from another country. In India, it is MTNL and BSNL, Mahanagar Telephone Nigam Limited, or BSNL, Bharat Sanchar Nigam Limited. So these were very few questions we have seen. These are application oriented questions. So thank you so much. This concludes our discussion.